to understand is this. A person can function as a teacher without any intention of teaching. They do not guide through instruction, but through the inner reactions they awaken in us. Someone who stays in our thoughts because they make us feel abandoned may be returning us to an unhealed abandonment wound. Someone we cannot let go of because they do not reciprocate affection may be forcing us to confront our unmet need for validation that we once handed over to others. Someone who evokes both admiration and unease may be reflecting a potential we have not yet dared to live. In all of these cases, the lesson does not reside in them, but in what their presence compels us to face within ourselves. From the perspective of modern psychology, this phenomenon can be associated with concepts such as corrective emotional experiences or trigger-based growth. Human beings often change only when an experience is powerful enough to challenge existing emotional structures. Yet Jung's distinction lies in his refusal to see such experiences as random. He believed the soul possesses a self-regulating tendency, and that those who enter our lives at the right moment often carry lessons we could not have learned alone. If we turn to the religious dimension, we see this same structure repeated clearly. In the Bible, many figures do not appear as sources of comfort, but as disruptors of faith. Jonah resists the call. Moses fears the role given to him. The disciples repeatedly fail to understand why trials must occur. Yet, it is precisely these troubling people and events that become the means through which spiritual growth unfolds. Here, the teacher is not always gentle or reassuring. Sometimes the teacher arrives in the form of challenge and friction. The core of this point lies here. If we see the other person only as the cause of our pain or obsession, we remain trapped in resentment or attachment. But when we recognize them as a disguised teacher, the inner question shifts. We stop asking, "Why did they do this to me?" and begin asking, "What within me is being asked to mature through this experience?" That shift in question marks a crucial step in the process Jung called individuation. When the lesson is recognized, a subtle movement takes place. The person who once occupied the mind no longer holds the same power, not because they have changed, but because the lesson carried by their presence has been learned. At that point, repetitive thoughts begin to settle, not through forced forgetting, but because the soul no longer needs to repeat the lesson. Thus, from Carl Jung's perspective, constantly thinking about someone is not a sign of emotional failure, but a stage in the journey toward becoming oneself. Some people come to stay, while others come only to teach us how to return more deeply to ourselves. When this is understood, obsession transforms into inner knowledge, and a once disturbing connection becomes a marker of growth. Ultimately, individuation is not a journey of isolation from others, but a journey of learning to meet others in their rightful place. Disguised teachers do not come to occupy our lives, but to open a door. Once that door has been opened, they may leave, and we continue forward, deeper, more conscious, and closer to who we truly are. It is possible that after this video, that person may still pass through your mind from time to time, like an old breeze moving through a familiar room. This does not mean you are weak, nor does it mean you have failed to move on. Sometimes, it is simply the trace of a door that has recently opened within the unconscious, and when new light enters, it takes time to illuminate all the forgotten corners. You do not need to chase the image away as if it were a disturbance, because resistance only makes it louder. Instead, Try to see it as a gentle signal from the soul that a part of you has not been listened to for a long time, a quality has not been fully lived, or a wound has been waiting to be named with kindness. And if there is one thing worth carrying with you, it is this: that person may be a chapter, but not necessarily the book. They may be the flame that awakened you, but not the place where you are meant to burn yourself out. At the deepest level, the meaning of thinking constantly about someone does not lie in whether you obtain them, but in whether you dare to retrieve the part of your soul you projected outward and return to living as a more whole human being. If these words resonate with you, leave a comment saying, "I have seen my message." Let it be a small promise to yourself that from this moment on, you will stop asking the world to answer for you and begin listening to the call of your inner life. And if you wish to continue on this path, the path of understanding yourself through Jung, of reading symbols within relationships, of understanding how a person can become a marker of awakening, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so we can meet again in the next videos.